Hi, this is National Chessmaster Rats. We're doing more games from the team match between my video lessons group and group Lullaby-Visca. Our man here is Famer, and we're playing, I think, on board 21. Let me double check that. I had it here a second ago. No, board 31. Okay, that's close. Okay, this game ends in a draw. Let's try to determine why it's a draw. Okay, so this is an unusual move. The pawn is already moved to d4. What's the point of putting it on d5? So, uh, probably been played by somebody before. How do you take advantage of a move like this? It does seem to cramp black a little bit. Uh, Clearly, if you try to slip by with e5, there's going to be an en passant capture, and black is going to lose the right to castle. So let's see. One thing we can do is we can just develop pieces, okay? We might want to go into the Leningrad type attacks where we fiend kettle this bishop. We've got an open diagonal. And arguably, we could also, uh, well, kind of hard to get this bishop to c5 without making a queen trade. I'm trying to take advantage of this diagonal open, but let's see if we can do a plan. Okay, so how do we get the bishop there? We have to play e6. That allows an exchange, so we would have to move the queen out first. If we play d6 first to move the queen up here, we've shut the diagonal down. So I'd say g6 is the way to go. Now here, I'm not sure if this is the correct choice. Okay, there's no rule that says that plays could take en passant. Okay, and develop our knight for us. Okay, so let's focus on what we want to do. Let's worry about the queen side later. Let's take care of the king, then we'll figure out what we want to do with it over here. So we'll just make some random developing moves, get both sides castled. Okay, now we do have this long diagonal. What do we want to do next? What do we want to do next? Okay, we can always play c5 now, but maybe we can do things differently. Let's see. We're going to play d6. We can say, so what about c6? This is an interesting move. Okay, now might go c4. Okay, but now we've opened up this diagonal for the queen. There's an idea of a5 with the idea of knight a6 and knight c5. Hard to say, you know. There's certainly a lot of interesting choices here. Let's take. And then play queen a5. Okay, now we're on the pawn. So we'll guard it. Now let's see. It might go here, but let's let it. Okay, let's develop pieces. Okay, now let's put this here. I'm not really sure if we're threatening a critical discovery, but that's going to drop this pawn. So there's some tactics here. There's a pin. On this, we're threatening a discovery. Let's break the pin. And now we're going to get some messed up pawns. So what's the alternative? Knight here. Might be a little risky. Knight here. Let's come back here to uncovering attack here. It's getting kind of crazy. Blocks up a pawn, but white seems to be able to put a permanent structure in this onto black's shoulders. Let's see. To do it, we have to do a mass liquidation. I don't know. This is probably good for black, even though this bishop can't move. Suddenly this diagonal is opened up. Let's go here because the knight can't be driven away. Now, interesting dilemma. This bishop's kind of stuck behind a bunch of pawns. If we advance this pawn, we restrict this bishop. So where do we want this bishop to be? Maybe a6 and think about trading it off at some point. If we lose the pawn on d5, white gets his pawn back, and black has a backward pawn on d7. I mean, it's just an interesting thing. Interesting line. I can't solve everything, and it's very doubtful this position would be reached. But this is how you analyze games. Okay, so now he plays c5 early, c4, now g6. So we see some of the similar things happening here that happen in the game, but a few little exceptions. Okay, now e6 is a hole, but black has it covered. And black's getting his development done. Gives up the bishop pair. Okay, breaks on the queen side. It might have been better not to take that pawn. Let's take this pawn instead. Okay, the reason is this pawn remains a backward pawn on the open file, but there could be a flaw here. There's pressure down here. What if we go this way? Okay, now we tickle the queen. Taking on e7 doesn't work for white because e2 will fall with check. Yeah, this looks good for black. Do we miss this? I mean, it's the first thing I see. I mean, this is just a natural move. I mean, we want to occupy this square, and we want to have pressure down there. Okay. What's white going to do? Well, he can work on this square. Let's see, we can put the bishop here. The idea of coming down and getting checked, but this knight's going to d4. It's going to be a very strong knight. I don't see. I think black's better off here. Knight d4 looks. This knight's a very, very strong piece, and let's see. Suppose white plays to trade it off. Now this bishop becomes a strong piece, and this bishop is stronger than its counterpart. Although they'll have some activity. It's going to get down to e6, but that's okay. We got the dark squares covered. Now white has to cover this. Let's put the pressure on b2. Put some pressure on a2. One rule about opposite colored bishops, they say the attacking side is a piece ahead. Now, we analyze quickly. If I'm in a tournament game, or I'm playing this over the board, I've got plenty of time on my clock. If I need to spend 10-15 minutes sorting it out, I'll do that. If I have a correspondence game, I'll go over all the lines. I don't know if white had better, but it looks like knight takes d5 was a better choice. And black looks pretty good. Okay, so he didn't play that. He played bishop takes b2. Now the pawn stays on b5. And that's protected. And now I had that bishop becoming a very strong piece on d4. Now it's been traded off. Although, one drawback, this bishop is kind of going to be bumping into a lot of pawns. The game ends in a draw soon. White's trying his darndest. He'd like to get this in and take down here. Counterattack on f2. Okay. So black decides let's not agree to a draw by repetition. But not too much is happening here. White's occupying this great square, but he can't break in with his pieces. They agreed to a draw here shortly. I don't see how white makes any progress here. Although maybe he can do something with the outside pawn majority. Let's see. Let's try this. Now, the drawback with that is maybe black is going to play here and sink the knight here. Now then this rook is out of play. Let's see. Give a check. I don't know, maybe white's getting somewhere. Okay, now we sack the exchange. Okay, now let's see. If you back up, you're going to drop this pawn. So you need to come over here. Now let's see. We have a check. This comes back. Oh, this check's deadly. You're going to lose this pawn. Okay, now we just try to hold on to the dark squares here. Black's all pinned up. White has some potential here. F4 with the idea of F5 and F6. I don't know if this is forced. Of course, this only happened because of the exchange sack. Black has another choice here. I'll play here. Now there's not going to be an exchange sack. Let's see what happens. But I'm looking for a way for white to try. I was thinking this, looking for a way for white to try to get something going with these pawns. I don't know. We don't have time for queen here because it takes this. Of course, it's white's move. Let's play here. Counterplay over here. No, white can't take that knight. You just can't take that knight. Where else can that knight go? G8 it runs out of moves. We were looking. I was looking at this move, and then it seemed like there was play here for white. This exchange sack. Now let's see. What was a different exchange sack? Let's see. Oh, I was giving a queen check first. That's right. I was giving a queen check first so I could take back. Okay, so if you run for the hills, this could be trouble. We're going to take this first, and now white's winning. It's going to win this rook. Just check with the queen and pick up the rook. So that knight can't go to D7. I mean E5 rather. So when you get it here, maybe we have to back up here. White's got a space advantage here. It looks like white could play on a little bit. Comes a check. Okay, now can we shut the rook in? Do we have to lose something here? It's better to win the exchange on this square because we get a pawn with it and we check. So let's see. So this move may be a mistake. Obviously this is a mistake, and now this rook is shut in. So let's give the check first. Now, if you do this, that seems to trap the rook. Of course, the rook's not trapped here. Let's give. No, you can't give that check. That loses the queen. Hey, see, I miss one moves all the time. Kind of comical, huh? Okay, let's see. Can we sack the rook here? Probably not. But you never know until you look. Let's see. Bishop check looks like the natural way. Now, king here is a blunder. You lose your rook, so you got to come back here. And I'm thinking white's running out of things to do here. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay, now we're going to play here and threaten mate. Of course, that could lead to trouble. Queen here. I don't know. No. White's got some nuisance value here. We're on the knight. Let's bring the knight over. Yeah, black's going to win this. Certainly interesting. But anyway, good game. Okay, let's move on to the next one. A lot of possibilities there. That's how you analyze a chess game. Okay, reset. So here, Famer wins this game. In 23 moves. Okay, so what happens here? We have the Caro-Kann. Okay, some people have said knight d2 is more accurate because in variations where the position gets locked up, like, well, let me show you. If the pawn goes to e6 in some position, and it doesn't really have a, and white, black never takes, this knight's kind of misplaced. You know, the Durganids system goes along like this or something. And if here we go and do this, and the idea is to place something in here. Anyway, that's a whole other opening. So knight d2 is playable, but it just transposes. Okay, now, you know, black has a lot of choices. That's one of the main lines. Now white has some choices here too, I believe. Okay, so it's a pretty level game. Black has shut in this bishop. The idea is he'll get it active later. By advancing these two pawns. That pawn's not going to d5. Okay, rock solid position for both sides. Not much is happening. There's the c5 as I was saying coming, and there's b6. Okay, so the game looks about even. Black is ready to double some pawns. This knight may go to e5 now. It's common square in the kill. Now he brings the queen out. And exercising more control over e5. Now knight takes d4 here would be a blunder. It would appear that black can get away with e5. They take with the pawn. Now white does have an isolated queen pawn. That doesn't mean the end of the world, but it's making an observation. Okay, let's see. This weakens the square. I'm not too convinced that's the right choice. Let's see what else could black do. You know, I mean, gaining time and blockading the queen certainly, or not blockading the queen, gaining time on the queen and blockading the pawn certainly seems like a playable alternative. A6, this weakens the b6 square. This weakens b3. Okay, now trade. Now he kind of gets into e5. Black hasn't played blockade the position yet. That forces a trade. The bishop doesn't have a retreat. He sacks. Does that sound? Okay. Very, very interesting position. A7 is covered by the two knights. F7 is only protected by the king. Black can play queen d5 and threaten a mate of his own. Let's see what happens and we'll come back. Okay, because this game ends in a couple of moves. That protects knight d7, f6, d7, then protects h7 a little bit. That threatens a mate. Guards the mate. And now black runs into trouble. His queen is guarding f6, and his knight was guarding h7, so it looks like this is going to lead to a mate. So theme here. Kaplow. Okay, so I'm not convinced the sacrifice was sound. It could be. I mean, ideally if you're playing a correspondence game and you make a sack like that, you've studied it, and you've determined it is sound. Okay. So let's try to find another defense for black. Let's have some fun here. Okay, this is the move that strikes me. Queen d5. Okay. First off, it threatens a checkmate. Okay. So white needs to deal with that. We don't have time for bishop e4 because knight's just going to take it. But I don't know. Maybe he can do that. Bishop e4. Knight takes. Knight takes. Now you can't take this, but one thing that's happened is black has been able to trade a little bit. Now let's trade again and see if white has anything. Okay. Now he's running out of pieces to attack with, so we have a sack on f7, and we have a knight move here. Okay. The knight to g5 might allow bishop takes g5, trading more material. Now let's try this. Okay. I don't know if it's going anywhere. Maybe not. Maybe white's running out of attacking pieces. E6 is covered. Just takes. Black is up 2 pieces. His king's exposed. But hello, queen. Let's make a trade. No thanks. No, you can't. If you go back here, you drop your rook. I don't know, maybe black could do that. Hey, let's give up the rook. Hey, look at that. I'm going to go threaten checkmate again. So, I mean, this is, again, a possibility. Now, black has 2 pieces for the rook here. He's giving back some material. Probably a better line. But, again, this is how we analyze. White needs to deal with this mate. How's he going to do that? If he plays f3, we just take it. So there's g3. And then suddenly we get this move. Now we're threatening mate on 2 different squares. White's out of checks here. King has to go here. Now let's see. Let's check him here. With king here, we throw this at him. Now the queen's getting closer. Are we getting anywhere? Since white doesn't have checks, let's go try this move. The idea is we want to play bishop e2 check. Or not e2 check. I'll get ahead of her. Forcing the rook to e2. Bishop a6 check is the threat. I don't know, maybe white has defenses now. Queen here. But it's certainly interesting. I wouldn't say black would lose this unless white gets a mating attack. Black certainly shouldn't lose this endgame if the queens come off. Let's see. We also play this move. The idea is we want to threaten a check here. Of course, we also, the drawback with this is that the king runs and now we're out of checks. But let's see. Push comes to shove. We take a draw. But maybe black had a win earlier. Like I say, it's certainly very interesting what you can uncover in a game of chess if you sit there and take the time. So let's back it up a little bit. I mean, interesting exchange sack. One thing I like to remind you about exchange sacks, you keep a balance of pieces. One piece is traded for one piece. Now here, black started out 2 pieces up, and then I barely got a draw. So obviously, if I can't win that, then I've made the wrong choice. But grandmasters analyze bad moves all the time because they have to analyze them to find out if they work or not. And sometimes a move looks bad, and the longer you look at it, the deeper you look at it, you discover it's actually quite good. So here I deliberately gave up a rook to get an attack, but we can come over here and maybe white is out of checks here too. You know, the king is still exposed, but you know, the bishop can block the d file. You know, black's probably winning this. Oh well, thanks so much for watching.